Hiring another manager isn't just a waste of money, it's a trap. If you're a CEO or business owner stuck making every decision, thinking if I just had another manager, I could finally breathe, you're making a mistake that will cost you time, money, and team morale. Most leadership problems don't come from too few managers, they come from a broken leadership system. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why more managers often make things worse and what to do instead. Stick with me till the end because I'm going to share the key shift that top performing companies use to build a self-sustaining leadership team. And if you're serious about fixing this, I'll even tell you how to get my help implementing the system in your business. So let's dive in. More managers won't fix your leadership problems. In fact, they might make things worse. I've seen this happen over and over again. A CEO thinks their team isn't stepping up, so they hire a new manager, hoping this person would take things off their plate. Fast forward 6 months, nothing has changed. The CEO is still making all the important decisions. The new manager, they're just another person asking for approvals. So why does this keep happening? Why do more managers just lead to more headaches instead of solving the real problem? To answer that, let me introduce you to a fictional CEO. Let's call him Dave. Dave started his business 10 years ago. He's the definition of a hard worker. He built his company up from the grounds up, and for years, that worked. But now he's hitting a wall. The company has grown, more employees, more customers, more complexity. And instead of working on strategy and scaling, Dave is stuck making decisions about things that he shouldn't be involved in. Sales, Dave approves pricing. Operations, Dave makes the final call on processes. HR, Dave is pulled into every dispute. His day is filled with emails, texts, and meetings where people ask, "Hey Dave, what should we do about this?" Sound familiar? Dave knows something needs to change. He can't keep working like this, so he thinks, if I just had another manager, they could handle this stuff for me. So he hires a manager, and guess what happens? The manager keeps coming back to him for approvals. The team still waits for his input. And now, instead of solving his problem, Dave has just added another person who depends on him. And that's the trap. We have a CEO, a manager, and a team, but they're all really just coming back to the CEO. Instead of removing himself from the bottleneck, he's just built another layer between himself and a team. The problem isn't solved, it's just hidden under another manager. See, hiring another manager doesn't fix a leadership problem. It just adds more people to the same broken system. And here's the thing, it's not just Dave. This happens in companies everywhere, and there's data to back it up. For example, 71% of middle managers are burnt out because they're stuck in approval loops. And 82% of companies admit they hire managers with no leadership training, which makes the problem worse. And 43% of business prefer hiring managers instead of developing internal leaders, but this leads to disengagement and eventually high turnover. So let me say that again. 82% of companies are hiring managers with no training, and they wonder why the leadership problems don't get solved. Hiring a manager doesn't fix leadership problems, it just adds another layer of dependence. So if hiring another manager isn't the answer, what is? That's exactly what I'm going to show you next. Because here's the truth. Successful companies don't solve leadership problems by adding managers. They do something completely different. And in the next part of this video, I'll show you exactly how to do it. All right, so now we know the problem. Hiring another manager doesn't solve your leadership issues. It just adds in more layers of dependence. But if that's the case, what's the real reason leadership is failing in so many businesses? It really comes down to one thing: dependency. Most leadership teams aren't actually leading, they're waiting for you, the CEO, to decide, waiting for approvals, waiting for permissions, and that is the real bottleneck. It's not that you need more managers, it's that your leadership team isn't actually making leadership decisions. And if you don't fix this problem, it won't matter how many managers you hire, they'll just become another person in a chain of dependency. Let's go back to Dave, our fictional CEO. He thought hiring a manager would free him up, but what actually happened? The manager kept coming to him for decisions. And here's why. Dave never created a system where decisions could be made without him. So even though he delegated, he never really let go. I see this all the time. Business owners say they want to empower their team, but then their team still runs every decision through them. And here's what's really happening under the surface. A, the team is afraid of making mistakes. B, they don't know that they have authority over. C, they have been trained to rely on you. And D, does any of this sound familiar? This is what I call the CEO decision trap. And if you're stuck in it, no number of new hire is going to fix it. Because if every decision still needs to come back to you, you haven't built a leadership team. You've just built a system that needs you to function. Let's shift gears for a second. Think about the best run companies in the world: Amazon, Netflix, Tesla. Do you think Jeff Bezos is approving marketing campaigns? No chance. These companies are built differently. Instead of stacking managers on top of managers, they build systems where leadership happens at every level. So, how do they do it? What's the difference between a company like Amazon and a company like Dave's? They don't just hire managers, they build a leadership system. And that is exactly what we're going to break down in the next section. Here's the shift you need to make. Stop thinking about leadership as people and start thinking about it as a system. Because if you get the system right, you don't need to be involved in every decision. Your business will run even when you're not there. And that's the difference between being an operator and being a true owner. Say operators are stuck in daily decisions. They're overwhelmed. The team depends on them. Whereas owners delegate decision making, builds leadership depth, and the business runs without them. And this is exactly what I teach my clients: how to transform from operator to owner, from a CEO to a true leader. So in the next section, I'm going to show you a 5-step system that will get you there. The system that the best run companies in the world use to develop real leadership at every level. So stick with me, because in the next part of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to fix this problem step by step. All right, so we've identified the real problem. Hiring more managers doesn't fix leadership, it just adds more layers of dependency. And the real issue is that your team isn't empowered to lead without you. So how do you fix it? How do you build a leadership system that allows your business to run without you being the bottleneck? I'm going to walk you through a 5-step framework that I teach my clients. This is how the best run companies create real leadership at every level without adding unnecessary managers. The first step is to clarify leadership responsibilities, so the right people in the right roles. It's simple and critical. You need clarity. You need to define exactly who is responsible for what, because if roles aren't clear, everything defaults back to you. Think about it. If your team doesn't know who owns what, they'll always ask for your input. And that's why you need job benchmarking. 82% of managers have never received formal leadership training. So when you just hire another manager without clarity, you're throwing them into a system where they don't know what they own. So one of the best ways I like to do for clarity is just using job benchmarking. That way people know what they're responsible for and also what they're not responsible for. Step 2 is to build a decision-making system and reduce bottlenecking. If you're still approving every decision, your business is fragile, because if you step away even for a week, everything grinds to a halt. Great companies don't just have leaders, they have a system for how decisions get made. So, for example, you can talk about the 4 level of decisions. They can either just do it, no approval needed. They have to check in first, get input, then decide. Or they need to get approval. Or they have to collaborate at the very top for the most strategic decisions only. So think about companies like Google. They don't wait for executives to approve every decision. They empower teams at the lowest level to own their work. And that's exactly what you need to do. Thirdly, you have to develop leaders internally. Most companies default to hiring externally when they need leadership. But let me ask you this. If you're not developing leaders internally, then what message does that send to your team? It tells them that there's no growth path, that no matter how hard they work, leadership roles will go to outsiders. And that's why companies that invest in leadership training see double the retention rates. The fix to this is to implement quarterly leadership development reviews and mentorship pairing. Instead of hiring an operations manager, develop a senior employee into a leadership role. Give them training, mentorship, and clear milestones for growth. Step 4, shift from managing to coaching. Here's the difference between a manager and a leader. A manager gives instructions. A leader asks questions. When managers stop telling and start coaching, employee performance increases by 25%. So what you need to do is start training your managers to ask great questions. Ask, how would you solve this problem? This simple shift forces your team to think critically, take ownership, and step into leadership. Step 5, systemize and measure leadership growth so you can make it sustainable. Leadership isn't a one-time fix, it's an ongoing system. If you don't track and measure leadership growth, it won't stick. For example, I have something called the Self-Sustaining Team Index, and that measures and improves leadership capacity. Companies that measure leadership impact see 2 times employee retention and profitability. This is how you turn a leadership problem into a leadership machine. So now you have the roadmap, 5 steps to building a self-sustaining leadership team. No more bottlenecks, no more unnecessary managers, just a system where leadership happens at every. But there's one final shift you need to make. In the next section, I'm going to show you how to go from being an operator stuck in daily decisions to being an owner where your business runs without you. So stick with me because this last step is what separates struggling businesses from thriving ones. All right, so we've covered the 5-step leadership system. If you follow along, you now understand how to remove bottlenecks, empower decision making, and build a real leadership team without just hiring more managers. But there's one final shift you need to make. And this is the shift that separates business owners who are stuck working in their businesses from those who have the freedom to step back and actually scale. It's the shift from operator to owner. Right now, most CEOs and business owners are stuck in the operator mindset. They may have a leadership team, they may have managers, but at the end of the day, everything still runs through them. Here's how you know if you're still an operator. Your team asks you for approval on almost everything. You can't step away for a week without the business slowing down. You still handle the big fires because your managers aren't truly leading. If you took a month off, everything would fall apart. Does that sound familiar to you? If so, you don't have a business, you have a full-time job, and one where you answer to everyone. Now let's talk about the owner mindset. Your leadership team makes 90% of decisions without you. You spend time on vision, strategy, and growth, not daily operations. And you can step away for a month and the business still runs smoothly. Your role is optional, not necessary. This is what true leadership looks like. And if you want to go from operator to owner, you need to take this final step. Most CEOs measure their success by what they accomplish, but the best leaders measure their success by what their team accomplishes without them. That's called leadership leverage, and this is the key to freedom in your business. When your team is fully equipped, fully accountable, and fully empowered, your business no longer needs you in the day-to-day, and that is how you create a self-sustaining business. And that's exactly what I help my clients build. So now you have a choice. You can keep running your business as an operator, stuck in decision loops, hiring managers who don't actually solve your leadership problems. Or you can make the shift to owner. You can build a leadership team that runs the business for you so that you can focus on what truly matters. And if you want my help doing that, let's talk. I help CEOs and business owners build self-sustaining leadership teams using the exact system we covered today. And if you're serious about stepping back from daily operations and finally having a business that doesn't depend on you, book a free call with me. I'll walk you through exactly how to implement this in your business so you can stop firefighting, stop micromanaging, and start leading. The choice is yours.